The rain fell mercilessly from a sky heavy with sorrow, and Maya stood on the edge of an old bridge, her hands gripping the rusted railing as if the cold metal could anchor her to the world she no longer understood, her heart weighed down by grief, loneliness, and the exhaustion of too many battles fought and lost. She closed her eyes, whispering into the storm for a way out, a door, any path that could lead her away from the pain that had become her life, and in that fragile moment a voice cut through the downpour, a gentle yet firm voice belonging to an older man in a suit, holding an umbrella that he tilted slightly toward her so that she too could share its cover, and though she insisted she was fine, her trembling lips betrayed her, and he simply answered with a truth that shattered her defenses. Sometimes saying you're fine is the heaviest lie we tell ourselves, and that was the moment Maya's tears spilled freely, her sorrow colliding with the rain, her story pouring out in broken fragments, of a father who had left when she was just a child, of a mother who worked herself to the bone just to raise her with dignity, of lessons of kindness and sacrifice, of dreams that once lit her way like lanterns but had been dimmed by betrayal, poverty, and the cruel hand of fate that had taken her mother too soon, leaving her utterly alone. The man did not interrupt, only listened, and when her voice broke completely he spoke softly. Life has a way of closing doors, but sometimes destiny waits with another one. Perhaps not where you expect, but always where you need it, and though Maya shook her head, whispering that all doors seemed locked to her, he replied, then perhaps you are meant to build a new one, and with that began a strange connection that would change her life forever, because the man, whose name was Daniel, was not simply wandering that rainy evening but had himself been standing at the edge of despair, a wealthy businessman burdened with regrets of a life lived chasing money but starving for meaning after the loss of his wife, and in seeing Maya's broken spirit he saw a reflection of his own, and in helping her he unknowingly began to heal himself. He offered her a warm meal, not as charity but as companionship, and though Maya hesitated, something in his sincerity convinced her, and so for the first time in weeks she sat at a table across from someone who looked at her not with pity but with respect, and there began a conversation that stretched late into the night, two souls stripped bare by grief yet slowly stitching one another back together with words. And in the days that followed Daniel kept reaching out, not to rescue Maya but to remind her that she was not invisible, that she still mattered, and as trust grew he shared an idea, a vision that had haunted him for years. To start a foundation for those who had lost their way, a safe place where broken people could find not just shelter but purpose, and though Maya doubted herself, he told her she had the heart and the experience of suffering that could make her the very soul of the project, and reluctantly, then passionately, she agreed, and what began as fragile steps became a steady walk, her pain transforming into fuel for something greater. Together they opened a small center in a neglected neighborhood, painted walls bright with color, filled rooms with books, blankets, and laughter, and Maya poured herself into every detail, welcoming strangers as family, listening to their stories, wiping their tears, giving away the wealth of kindness her mother had taught her long ago, and slowly the center grew, touching lives, offering job training, meals, hope, and above all, dignity, until one evening as Maya stood watching children draw rainbows on the walls she realized that she had found her door, not given to her by destiny but opened by her own hands, with Daniel's faith as the key, and for the first time in years she whispered into the night not a plea but a thank you, because in closing her eyes on that bridge she thought she had reached the end, but destiny had been waiting with a brand new beginning, one born not of escape but of courage, not of receiving but of giving, and as the years passed, the center blossomed into a movement, Daniel finding joy and purpose and Maya discovering that her mother's legacy lived on in every smile she inspired, and those scars of the past still ached, they no longer defined her, for she had learned the deepest truth of all, that even in the darkest rain, a single act of compassion can open doors no one believed existed, and sometimes the path to healing is found not by seeking escape, but by becoming the door for someone else who is lost, and in that realization Maya finally understood, she had not been abandoned by life, she had been guided to it.